Hello and welcome to the Boy Child Initiative Show, where we talk about issues relating to the boy child and how we can raise better men in society. My name is Judith Courage-Atayero, aka JCA. Today with me, I have an amazing guest. He's a professional, he's a medical doctor, and he's no other than Dr. Foy. And his real name is Tochukwu Mcfoy. Tochukwu Mcfoy is the founder and CEO of Same Energy Global, and is also the founder of Energize Music. And they have high-profile artists such as T.Y. Bello, Great Mouth Arcade, and many more. Dr. Foy is very passionate about mental health, especially as regards men. And today's conversation, we'll be talking about mental health as regards the boy child and how it affects our society, and also from the point of view of men and how we can raise young boys to become better men in society. So, ladies and gentlemen, here with me is Dr. Foy. Hello, Dr. Foy. I'm so glad to have you.
Honored.
Thank you so much. It's such a privilege.
Your name is Courage.
Definitely.
So why not? Why I'm encouraged.
Please be encouraged, because this conversation we're about to have is
Yeah.
that needs and requires courage.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I want to start with a very popular saying that goes thus: men should not cry. Men will be men. Men are strong. Like
Yeah.
you hear when probably a young boy's father passes,
Yeah.
and the boy is crying, and one old woman somewhere is saying, "Don't cry, Joy, you're a man. Don't cry." What
Yeah.
was that? What prompted you to go into mental health and in regards to men?
So I think honestly what prompted me was the complex nature of a man. Men are complex beings.
So women are not complex.
Women are not human. You are complicated.
Okay, yes.
You are complicated or complex.
I will agree to that.
But I realized, so for example, if you just read books on like history and evolution,
Yeah.
at some point in the human era, men had to hunt. Men had to not cry.
Yeah.
Men had to fight lions. Men had to
They
fight.
had to go to war.
They had to go to war. Men had to assume a role of a defender.
Yeah.
There was no technology.
Yes.
There was no it's not an out of place concept
I see.
of men don't cry. It was in an era where we had to assume a role of defender, because, so for example, I'll give an example. There was a time in the history of humanity, the Ice Age, when a husband will go to fight wars and he's not sure
If you'll make it.
he'll make it. So you have something called like a celebratory last sex with his
Yeah.
wife. I've read the books.
Yeah.
So it's not a far-fetched concept.
Yeah.
But with evolution, a lot of things have changed.
Yes.
So why did I read mental health? Because of myself first. I realized that I carried things across my own life that was okay with.
Yeah.
But when I became married, I saw that more.
We need to change
I
some
need to
things.
work on my part. Then
Yeah.
when I became a parent, I said, okay. So the awareness of my mental health, my traumas and all that became alive to me when I was married first, and then when I became a parent.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing. I actually didn't really see from that point of view. I actually saw you like from the toxic way of men should not cry and dance. But now that you've explained, even to me, I'm enlightened. So I know that the viewers would definitely are enlightened as well.
Yeah.
So my next question: what are some common mental health challenges that boys face as they navigate adolescence into young adulthood?
Yeah. So now that we are in a different era,
Yeah.
I say that the boy child is the most affected species on earth, and I mean it. I'm not trying to be.
I totally agree.
And I'll tell you why. The millennials, for example. So let's start with I'm a millennial. I'm in my mid-30s. We went through a lot. I did a research recently. Most millennial male learned sex from pornography. Most millennial male, it's affected their marriage. Most millennial male never had conversations with their father about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Most millennial male didn't understand their chemicals. So testosterone is an ego-driven hormone because it's just
Yeah.
it's biology.
Yeah,
I'm not
that's
gonna.
just what it
That's
is.
God made us like that.
Yeah.
So there's ego.
Yeah.
But because there's ego, most men they don't learn how to face rejection.
You see this one, It's a conversation.
Yeah. So
Okay.
most men don't learn how to face rejection. And I'm saying what I experienced.
Yes.
We can't face rejection. We don't understand the framework of rejection.
Yeah.
So most men either become extreme, porn,
Yeah.
or most men use weed. So I saw a generation that we didn't have that champion who had conversations because our fathers too
Did not
had
have
fathers who. So now the next generation, this generation, I think that, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I think that if we don't change our game plan, it will be the worst male generation ever. Why? Number one, they are exposed to self-learning.
Yeah.
There are no boundaries to what they're
yeah.
exposed to. So they self-learn, and that is you train a child in the way you should go.
Yeah.
Each child now, kids are training themselves.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, the pornography exposure would be times 17%.
Wow, that's high.
No, that's not high. That's wild. 17%.
Wow.
I mean, it increases every year by 17%.
Wow.
TikTok, social media, Facebook, it's increasing every year by 17%.
Every year.
Every year.
Now that's crazy.
That's wild. So a child at age 10 would have toast a girl because of the hormone. She would say, get out, watch porn, and get out. A child, that's second. Third, the most Africans, Nigerians are religious. So we don't teach our kids spirituality. We just slap
religion in their faces.
And it's such a dangerous thing to do because the letter killeth and the spirit giveth life, and it's the truth. It's the truth. I was telling my wife recently, Christ did not marry. Paul did not marry. David did not have a great marriage. Solomon did not have a great marriage. So who are we learning marriage from in the Bible? Let's think about that. But the Holy Spirit can teach you with the lessons.
Yes.
So it's the same for kids. You don't just slap. Don't just slap religion on these kids. So I think that with the increase of technology, with the increase of self-learning, with the exposure to globalization, which is a good thing, but it's also a dangerous thing because of context. An American child has had about 77 years to 100 years of pre-exposure by parenting. There's a credit system. They can afford gaming. They can do a particular kind of course and get jobs. It's a different concept in Africa. We're still post-colonized. So you can't say that the culture, you're learning a global culture in a Nigerian, so parents have to be involved. It's a very interesting, complicated, complex conversation. That's the truth.
So are issues surrounding identity also part of the issues that boys go through while transitioning from teenagehood to adulthood?
I think identity is something that everybody has to find on their own.
Yeah.
Eventually. But what I also see is that what you don't want to become, in the pursuit of trying to change, you can enter. So they've seen, I don't want to be like this.
Yeah. Probably if they had an abusive father.
Yeah. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to. And I'm saying from my experience, I don't want to. So, for example, my generation, I'm seeing us try so hard to be friends of our kids, not parents.
Yes.
And that's dangerous. You have to parent.
You have to ground once in a while. You have to beat once.
But because we don't want to be like our parents.
Yes.
We're working. So it's a very interesting.
I think that's like a conversation that we'll have when we're talking about parents. It's one of the topics we're going to talk about.
So mental health is a thing that a lot of children would go through, and I'll tell you why. Everybody is formed from age 0 to 7.
Yeah, those are formative years.
Yeah. And from age 0 to 7, there's a trauma downloads we all get. Men are compared to each other a lot. Boys are compared.
Yeah.
This is see how this boy is behaving.
Yeah.
That's one. Two, I'm going to say something that's very strong. A lot of guys could be effeminate. They are finished. They are.
Yeah, we have so many amongst Gen Zs these days.
And they this is not how a man should be.
Yes.
Because of the globalization. So they
embrace it.
They embrace it. That's 2. 3, a lot of parents don't have time. The economy is tough. We're working so hard. So we're outsourcing parenting to schools and teachers and Sunday school teachers, which can be good or bad. It depends on. I'm just being real with you.
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah, totally.
So we're outsourcing. Things. So yeah, it's a
But now we are in a generation, especially Gen Z. I'm a Gen Z.
A Gen Z?
Yes, I'm a Gen Z.
Okay.
So we are in a generation where a lot of any slightest thing, a lot of people my age are like, oh, my mental health this, my mental health that. But now, like in reference to, the boy child. Okay, what is mental health? Let's break the big grammar.
Mental health is emotional robustness. Simple terms. Emotional, being able to have a robust management of emotional health.
Okay.
Emotional what? Robustness. Can you handle your emotions? The lie most men have is that we're not emotional. We're emotional. Yeah. Human beings are emotional.
Yes.
Emotions are driven by hormones, humanity, thoughts, life, personality. The problem is you can suppress your emotions.
Yes.
Which will give you a different result in life. Or you can manage your emotions, which will give you a different result in life. Most men suppress their emotions. Most young boys will learn it early to suppress
their emotions. So what can you say to these young boys, probably any young boy watching right now, what can you say to them as regards suppressing their emotions? How do they go about it? Not suppressing, rather.
I'll say that it's not going to be easy, first of all, because I'll give an example. As a man, myself, as a young guy, there are a lot of things that I'm in my mid-30s that I'm not like, oh wow, I'm just seeing about myself. One is trauma. Like, for example, traumas are the bad things that happen to you and the good things that happen for you.
Yeah.
But the problem is we're not allowed to mourn and heal. Women do it talking. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, we just talk.
You just talk, you cry, you're complex. Yeah. Men don't really talk about each other. Men are also hormonally.
Yeah.
We have ego issues. So when a man talks, the way you react can block him for life.
Now, wow. Talking. How do we break this ego now? How do we break? Even for a young boy.
Yes. It's hormonal too. God, it's hormonal.
Wow.
I'm not saying but the hormones have not been educated, but it's hormonal.
Okay.
You can educate it.
Yes. By doing what?
One, the mother's hormones are nurturing.
Yes.
It's about nurturing.
Yes.
Our hormones are protective.
To defend.
Yeah. It's hormone. There's also a part of God made like that.
Yeah.
We can't deny that part.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I totally understand.
What I'm saying is that most men I know have nurturing mothers, but they don't have fathers.
Yes.
There's a fatherlessness generation.
Yes. And that is another conversation.
Yeah. There's a fatherless generation.
Yes.
And because of that fatherlessness, we can take the nurture as almost entitlement. He's a mommy's boy. My mother did. So I teach husbands, men, and I said no, your mother's nurturing is not your wife's responsibility.
Yes.
It's a different concept.
Yes.
Your mother nurtured you. That is not, your wife is meant to be your helpmate, your lover, your partner. It's different. But because if there was a balance of fatherhood,
Yes. Yes.
it would change the picture. So the first thing I would say is that most men have to be taught self-awareness. Teach self-awareness. Teach them self-aware.
Teach your boy self-awareness.
You say when they react, don't slap.
Yes.
Don't slap. Don't scare. Shut up. No.
Yes. Yes.
Why are you feeling this way? Why are you doing this thing this way?
Yes.
What? Okay. Why? So teach your boy self-awareness.
That way he even learns how to express
himself.
Yes.
Communication is very key in self-awareness. Being able to communicate how you feel.
Yes.
You must teach them. Problem is, some of us don't even know how to do it ourselves. Yes. So, but for those who know, teach self-awareness. That's number one.
So can we do like a short practice of self-awareness right now?
One is, hey boy. So first of all, number one is when they make mistakes, don't correct on the spot.
Okay.
Give them time. Don't correct on the spot. Hey, later on, bring it up. But young people also have perspective.
Yes.
So don't try to bring your mature mind that has many contexts. You've seen life. You've seen so much. So you're a wise person.
Yes.
This man is not wise. He's just 7 years old.
Yes.
Just 6 years old. He's not wise. So come down to your level and show them.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, kids mimic people. We're made in God's image and what?
Likeness.
We are also made in our image and like of our parents.
So they don't necessarily do what you say. They do what they see.
They see what you see. So make sure you also live right in the sense of how do you communicate with your wife? How do you communicate with your staff? How do you know? I deliberately tell the helpers in my house, thank you. I say thank you to everybody, all the helpers. Thank you. The driver, thank you. So that they will see it.
Yes.
Thank you. And it's not thank you. It's like
thank you so much. Yeah.
Gratitude.
Yes.
Because they are seeing it.
Yes.
I say thank you. That's number two. Number three, which is very important, be vulnerable with them. Show them you are also not. You cry.
Yes.
Daddy is tired. Daddy wants to sleep. Can I sleep on your laps?
I even heard there was a time that this thing trended on Twitter, and it was like people were saying, when last did your parent tell you I love you? I don't know, for Africa, for me, I can't relate because both of my parents, my father and my mother, even to my brothers, my father will call my brother and the next thing is conversation is ending with I love you.
Yeah.
And people find it weird.
Yeah.
So how do we change that narrative?
Yeah. Honestly, I'll say that a lot of people don't love themselves.
To start with.
Yes. And communication are things that you say not with your mouth.
With your actions.
With your body language.
Yes.
Yeah. You can't. I love you doesn't mean anything if there's no
backing. There's no
vibration. There's no frequency. There's no notch. There's no care. I think that a lot of parents have to, and this is very key.
Yes.
A lot of parents also have to start working on themselves. I said that parenting was the major red flag for me to work on my mental health. I knew that I can't just be a provider. I can't be financially available, emotionally bankrupt.
Yes.
I can't be that. I can't be the one. That's not. What does it profit man to gain the world and lose his soul? I can't. So I had to work on myself. I had to see. Oh, I dealt with rejection. Oh, I kind of have a big ego.
Yeah.
Oh, I am. I'm afraid of. See, a lot of men have toxic respect issues. Respect is a man's thing.
Yes.
But some of us. It's too fragile.
Any small thing like this.
How dare you disrespect me? Disrespect. I don't understand. I'm like, huh. But women, people should try, Sha. Because
how? Teach us. How do we try?
Because sometimes we thin out. When you disrespect a man, he comes to you vulnerable. You
attack his ego.
that is at some point he snaps.
He just withdraws.
He withdraws
and doesn't say anything anymore.
Yeah, you know that thing they do in Are You a Robot? 5 traffic lights.
Yes.
At some point, a man can forget himself.
Oh wow.
You know how?
Yes.
So at some point, a man, this is what when he says, "This is not who I am. I'm done. I'm done."
Mm-hmm. Oh wow.
So yeah.
So there was something you mentioned earlier, as regards when you said you talk to men, married men especially, about, learning, unlearning and relearning, like when it comes to nurturing from their mothers.
Yeah.
Please, I want you to say something to mothers, and these are issues that also spring up in marriages.
Yeah.
Where someone's wife is telling them, and they take it from childhood, so they grow up to always listen to their mothers because there's no active father figure in their life.
Yes.
And so your wife is telling you something, your mother is telling you something else. Please, can you give a word of advice to mothers and how to nurture their sons the right way?
Most parents live vicariously through their children,
Yes.
ferociously through their kids. Most parents, most mothers, at some point, because their husbands were not available and they didn't want to cheat or do stupid things, they attach their emotions
To their
children.
Especially their sons.
Their sons. I'm just being open. A lot of it's interesting. It's a complicated world.
Yes.
I would say this. I would say that a lot lies on the husband, because learn to manage your mother. Manage your mother. I don't think a woman that is 60 or 50 can change like that. So it's the man must manage
his mom.
Manage your mom. Understand that someone said that it takes 20 years. I'll say 10 years, but some say 5 years. But it takes time in marriage to build context. Let me explain. I used to MC weddings. I MC the wedding that I MC like 2 years ago. They divorced already.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 years. I've done 2 years, 3 years, 2 years, 2 years. I'm serious. I'm not trying to lie.
Yes.
And the reason why is that I tell married people that it takes time for them to be context in a marriage. At some point, you guys know each other enough to say, to begin to defend your partner's wrongdoing. Okay, but first 2 years is still fragile.
Yeah. So
most women are still checking. We're still checking. By the 6th year, we've had a lot of scenarios to say, at the end of this is what he will still do for my husband.
Yes.
But 2 years, you can't joke around with that.
Yes.
So it takes time to build context, and context is the key for communication. Context is the key for love. Context. So first 5 years, defend your marriage. Cover it.
Defend your marriage. Cover it.
You know how they say candle? At some point, you will cover the candle like this.
Yeah, so that the fire doesn't go out.
At some point, you have to put it inside the can.
Yes.
Know when to.
Cover.
Know when to. Yeah. And with your kids too.
Yeah.
With the male child.
Yes.
By 2030, global stats say that the world, women will be the richest in the world. By 2030, in America right now, single women have more money than single men. They have more houses than single men. And this is the reason why a lot of men are not trained. A lot of men are not trained. A lot of men don't have mentors, or I call them champions.
Yes.
I see champions. A lot of men don't have champions. A lot of men are not introspective. Introspection is self-analyzing, not in a derogatory way, but in a positive way.
Yeah.
A lot of men don't introspect. All these things you must now begin to teach your younger child. Why? Because they are going to have 1,000 teachers online, on Instagram, on sick TikTokers. There's a guy who's a male, I don't know his name again, one European guy that they arrested, teaching you toxic male. What's his name? There's one guy, he's a white guy. He just teaches nonsense, but he has a lot of followers.
Wow.
He says he just teaches men, be brutal. He's popular. And he wears a suit. He's a fine man, But I'm serious. Like,
Wow.
there are 1,000 podcasters talking about F the speech. 1,000. So your kids are going to be offended one day, and instead of dealing with offense like a normal person,
Yes.
would watch a video and say yes, and then in America they get gone
And just shoot.
and shoot. In Nigeria, they make money and sleep with girls or take cocaine or escape. So introspection, but you must mirror it. Vulnerability,
Yes.
humility, meekness. Teaching your kids, spending time. Let me say this to you for the last question or next question. When I say I love my wife, the truth is I don't know what that means, because I don't even know what love is in this context. So we had to find what love means. Love means curate for us. K, know my wife. You, understand my wife. R, have a relationship with my wife.
Yeah.
A, appreciate my wife. T, spend time with my wife. E, empathize. So for us, love is curate. Kurate.
And this can be applied to parents with their children and their sons.
Yeah, because everybody's abused.
Yes.
Everything's abused. So you have to now.
What does it mean to love?
So maybe the future of everything is family life now.
Family life.
You can outsource to family. Man, husband, marry well.
Yes.
Have kids. Spend time. Not tabs, because a lot of the kids, I do it a lot. I just throw it tabs.
Yes, just to distract them and focus on whatever it is you're doing. Yeah.
I don't know what I'm watching. There's also a psychology of tabs.
Yeah.
At 6, 7 a.m. they want tabs.
That's bad.
Yeah.
So in terms of let's say a parent watching this now, and what signs would they notice if their son is probably going through a mental health crisis or going through a tough time, and maybe he's depressed? What are the signs to look out for?
Context. So I'll speak based on, I'll generalize, but you might have, one is isolation.
Okay.
Isolation. So sometimes kids need their space.
Yes.
Boys need their space. I hear that some boys, I also like solitude.
Yeah.
To recharge.
Yes.
So, but when it becomes a lot, isolation is number one.
There's a problem.
There's a problem. Number two, for parents, please, you have to understand that the virtual world is real. TikTok is now 1.5 billion users.
Oh.
Instagram is 1.1 billion users. This means that your child is not communicating with Nigeria alone. It's with the world.
Internationally.
In the world. Somebody from France whose parents were man and man might be your child's friend, and he has a different context of what life is about.
Yes.
So two, you have, dear parents, you have to learn how to be digital natives.
Yes.
I know we're all immigrants. We just check, but you now have to learn how to be a native, understand what TikTok is about. Just like it, pay attention to it. Don't hover over it. Don't like snoop. Don't be funny.
Yes.
That's number two. Number three is that trust is not built in a day. Dear parents, trust is not built in a day. I know somebody who told his mom or dad about his first porn issue, and the way they reacted made this boy a junkie with women and all that.
Wow.
It was a Christian parent, and they took the child to the pastor, and they flogged the boy in church. And I'm saying I'm saying what I know. And the boy now he sleeps with 4 girls a day or 5, and so yeah. I'm being very real with you. You discipline the child. So that's why I said you cannot slap religion.
Yes.
Yeah. So you have to know that for your parents, for your kids to trust you, you have to, the way you even react.
Yes.
You have to be calm. You have to lose some battles, win the war.
Yeah. So, like, for parents whose children or boys are going through pornography issues and challenges, and even for that young boy, how does one break free from the addiction? And how does it relate to your mental health?
some people might not break from the addiction. I'm Christians, sorry,
Yes.
but I must be real, because addictions, the real issue about an addiction, if I'm talking science here,
Yes.
is not the addiction. It's what does the person get from the addiction? Can we sympathize? Yes. What does he get? He gets a release of adrenaline
Yes.
and endorphin. He feels happy.
Yes.
So that means in his real sense, he's not happy. So why is he not happy? It can be his parents. It can be rejection. It can be rude. It can be deep rejection. It can be deep disappointment.
Yes.
Deep rooted disappointment. And there are other things besides pornography. A lot of kids are into drugs. A lot of kids are into
even social media addiction. Yes.
The worst of all too is even like double life. Like they have a social media presence.
Yes, and then they're a different person in reality.
That's quite psychotic. Like it's dangerous. It's for me. It's dark.
So how does one balance it?
Takes time. Okay, people, if you have a child that is still between 1 to 7, you have a chance. But the chance means that you have to be deliberate. You also have to understand that you have to balance the pursuit of your career and your big goals with the training of your kids. As much as I respect helpers, they don't have the vision you have for your children.
Yes.
So you have to balance both. You also have to realize that unlike those days where abuse was just physical, there's something called virtual abuse. There are men online that are grooming boys. They start by creative content, really nice content. And then one day they say join a virtual group.
And you join.
And then it's a different warfare we're fighting now. So you have to pay attention. I struggle with it, paying attention to my daughter, pay attention.
I think it's a general problem with social media at the moment. Yeah.
So we have to pay attention to our children, pay attention to all that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Foy, for the knowledge you've shared thus far. I've actually learned a lot, and I know that our viewers too have learned a lot. So the next question, what misconceptions around mental health when it comes to us boys would you like to demystify?
I would say that the first thing I would like to demystify is that boys don't get depressed. Boys are very emotional.
Okay.
Maybe more emotional than
women.
Yeah, more emotional. More emotional doesn't mean you're expressive.
Yes.
So that's the first thing we must demystify. That boys are emotional. Boys cry. Boys do everything. Boys. That's the first thing we should demystify.
Yeah.
The second thing we should demystify is that trauma is not only about sexual trauma.
Yes.
Because a lot of people were traumatized by abuse, physical abuse. Guys, there's something called verbal abuse.
Yes. Like you're not good enough. You can never amount to anything.
And a lot of men have been abused verbally by men too, not only women.
Yes.
By men, fathers, school teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers, you understand?
Yeah.
So it's traumatic. Comparison. You see that boy coconut head.
Or see your brother.
Yeah, it's not a joke. Those things are wrong, erroneous concepts. We should do better.
Yes.
We should all do better. Very important. So abuse could be verbal. It could even be body language.
Yes.
And then men are very emotional too. Very emotional, but we don't express it like women do.
This leads to my next question, right? So how would you tell a boy child or a man to handle rejection? Because so many men do not know how to handle rejection. You ask this babe out and she's like, no, I'm not interested, and she doesn't mean it in any bad way. She probably doesn't feel it like that, and it's normal. I think that you might like somebody, they might not like you, you move on. So how do we teach young boys and teenagers to accept rejection?
I think the issue with rejection is never about the opposite.
It's about self.
It's about self. I'll say that a lot of men have been rejected with jobs.
Yeah.
you not being good at a job or at a particular thing doesn't define you. So yes, there's
Please let's say it again.
you not being good at things don't define you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of contextual things for that role.
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people have been rejected because they were misunderstood.
Yeah.
They have felt rejection because of time and chance that happened to them.
Yes.
Then there's the woman one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way that you can deal with rejection is perspective. Time doesn't heal rejection.
Yeah, it's what you do.
It's perspective. It's how you see it. How do you? Oh wow! So you have to have a robust sense of self and humor. They don't know who I am.
Yeah.
Their father, their papa.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Yeah, you have to be able. It's perspective.
Yes.
It's change how. And guys, I have my greatest quote is tomorrow will come.
Yeah, tomorrow will come.
Tomorrow will come. So don't give up. So yeah, so perspective helps with this, with rejection. Perspective, seeing and snapping, knowing that what happened to you, 80% is not your fault.
Yes.
90% is not your fault.
Yes, but how you react to it?
Yeah, perspective. Yeah, and then introspection. But that is something that therapy.
Yeah,
we need therapy.
Okay, I'm still going to ask you that question on therapy.
Okay.
But so while we're during the break, we're talking about football and how it's like a man thing, how men come together and bond over football.
Yeah.
But
I do that a lot.
You do that
I'm
too.
rough. I keep people on pitch.
But when it comes to, let's talk about when it comes to abusing, I don't think men are kind to each other.
Yeah, I think that you're right. You're right. This is what I would say. I'll say that a lot of men have used sports to escape. So let's try and bring it back.
Yes.
Super Eagles, for example, a lot of us were using them to just escape our problems.
Yes.
Dollar is rising.
Yes.
So Arsenal, for example, I'm an Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
If you know what I've said to my coach, God have mercy on me. I've called him names that God have mercy on me.
God has forgiven you.
Just forgive him. I can't lie. I'm not going to lie here. I've finished that man, and then he wins, and I love him up. And the point is that we escape through things. We can't. It's tough. It's like comrades.
Yes.
We want to live through people.
Yes.
So sport is that thing. Yes, men are not kind to each other because of the competitive nature of how we're defined.
Yes.
Lion eat lion, goat eat goat. But with sports, I would say that we escape through people. So when you disappoint us,
Yes.
we're not really abusing you. We're abusing ourselves.
You're just letting it out.
That we need a messiah.
Yeah, I totally get.
Iwobi was the one who suffered the Super Eagles zone, and I think that reason why is because he's not the most macho footballer. That's the truth. He's not the most. He's calm. Not like he's effeminate. Just not. So we found somebody that we called. Yeah, it happens in Arsenal. So go and see how they beat Chelsea. Chelsea fans, they're the worst. Chelsea fans, they insult people's father, mother, parents. Chelsea, rough people. But that's the thing about men. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about effeminate men. I mean, that's the English.
Effeminate
men.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it like a part of their? I don't want to be rude or
no. It's a hormonal balance.
Okay.
Apparently, I know some effeminate men that have slept with more girls than macho men.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Because they understand the woman's psychology.
Oh, they have some bad boys. Don't think you are. What I'll just say is that I would say that parenting is the most important role in this generation, in this era. Parenting is now a ministry.
Yeah.
It's like the way, parenting is so key, and parenting should help you remove dead weight and nonsense. I think that when you see effeminate men are just men with more hormones.
Yes.
More hormones that are not testosterone.
Yes.
So when you see an effeminate man, parents have to be able to guide them into roles that, because like I said, when a child self-learns,
Yes.
he will be introduced to
Different
worlds
things,
that they don't have rails. Yeah.
Do you have any success stories from this mental health advocacy for boys that you would like to share with us?
I'll say a few.
Okay.
One is, I realized that a lot of, so I'm speaking with as much as I've had men that have divorced, there's some men that are still in marriage.
Yeah.
And I don't say it's because of me, because
Yes.
that's not, but because of our conversations.
Yes.
And they're few. I won't call names because
Yeah,
it's
of
private.
course, yes.
But I'll say that one of the major things that have changed most of the guys I work with in their marriage is that I tell them that I struggled first.
Yeah.
Once I was able to share that you don't copy people's marriages. There's no prototype. There are lessons, but there's no prototype. Close your door and define your marriage. Everything changes. The reason why is because the best way to train men are in homes. Yeah. So homes is families are the incubators to train people. Not schools, not churches. Families. So if the parents get it right, the kids will be a good seed.
Thank you. And then the final question: do you think men should go for therapy?
I think everybody should go for therapy, men and women.
Okay.
But I would say that men need to understand why they should go for therapy.
Okay.
My answer is go for therapy because you as a person don't know how to even share. So if you can find a good therapy community or a therapist that is discreet, it will help you unburden. Sharing actually lightens the burden. So you should go for therapy. And because men also are afraid of shame.
Yes.
Shame is just, women are shameless. No, women are not shameless, but women are shameless. People are trying to, men don't want shame.
Yeah.
And shame can push you into secrecy.
Yes.
And secrecy can wreck your intimacy. And wrecking your intimacy can wreck your family. It's a cycle. So it's good to go for therapy.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you very
Foy.
much.
That was
Honored.
such an insightful conversation.
Thank you.
I learned a lot, and I know that so many people will definitely learn from this conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I hope this has been an insightful conversation. I have learned a lot. I hope you have too. And please, if there are anything that stood out for you during the course of this conversation, please do not forget to leave a comment below and share. Do not forget to like, comment, share, and definitely subscribe. I want to thank every single person that ensured that this shoot was a success. I want to thank TagBase. I want to thank the production crew, and of course my guest, the wonderful Dr. Foy. See you in the next episode. Bye.